Namaste, Gurudev. The most famous verse, peace verse in the Upanishad, which speaks about the infinity, we are interested in that subject. Could you put more light on that subject matter?
Well, this is, as you have said, this is the most celebrated verse, peace verse in the Upanishad, particularly the oldest Upanishad called Ishavasya Upanishad. Covered the world with the idea of infinity, Ishavasya. The verse is Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyati Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyati. Om Purnamadaha, unseen. Let me translate it in English first. Om Purnamadaha, that what we don't see, the unseen world, is infinite, complete in itself, infinite. Purnamidam, Purnam idam, whatever we see before our eyes or whatever we hear, all these are also infinite. Purnam. Actually Purnam is complete, and infinite is the only complete thing in the world. All other things have still the procedure, but the infinite is complete in itself. Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate. Purnat Purnamudachyate. It is said by those who are enlightened, men of complete wisdom, the knower. They say that this infinite has come from the unseen infinite. This visible infinite has come from the unseen infinite. Then are there two infinites? No. Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyati. Infinite taken from infinite, mathematically, what remains is infinite. So, infinite means endless. Taken from the endless, what remains is endless. So, this is the meaning of the verse, and this verse definitely explains the idea of infinity, the perception of infinity. And we know that visible elements, in most of the cases we can see the visible elements are from unseen. Like in the seed there is a tree, massive tree, which might survive for thousands of years, but we don't see. Our perception cannot grasp it, cannot see it. Butter in the milk, we cannot see. And the clouds, we cannot catch the cloud, but we can take the hail in our hand. Hails from the cloud, hail from the cloud, but the hail can be in the heart. Vapor we cannot catch, but we can have the ice cream. Ice cream we cannot, ice cream is not only to have it, but also can be eaten, but we cannot see the vapor. So this way, you see, the whole universe is coming from the seed form, from the potential form, unseen potential form. So this dynamism, this is explained infinity. This is a very strange and a beautiful perception that human life is a continuous flow towards the infinity, and it's only human being which can actually reckon the infinite flow of the existing world and the unseen infinity, which is not yet manifested, can be realized in human heart. So this perception is very ancient, the most ancient, infinity. And then again, in context, we can say something. Is also is connected with, you can see that they talk of Big Bang, the cosmogony, vast cosmology. All these are connected with this. Slowly we have to extend our view. Our humdrum way of life, we know that the life is very humdrum, apparently. Eat, sleep, and then go on around with entertainment and then die. So this is not life or all life. It this verse says that you have to open your view, you have to open your outlook, how you see the world. That outlook is the real enjoyable thing. You have to come in touch with the infinite perception, because mind confined to only relative thoughts, relative mundane thoughts, it becomes polluted. Mind becomes polluted, like the water which cannot flow in a river becomes polluted. Exactly in the same way, if you don't give your mind a channel towards the infinite realization, automatically your mind becomes polluted, and that is what people feel like in the form of tension, in the form of depression, in the form of distraction. So many negative faculties, so many negative elements, I mean to say, is connected with that. If you do not have the root, if you do not catch the root towards the endless. So how to cultivate? Whatever you see, you can easily understand that everything is changing every day. Everything is changing every day and getting transformed. Nothing is lost in this world. Even the modern science says, conservation theory, that no matter is conservation of matter, and nothing is destroyed. Conservation of energy, no energy is destroyed, constantly transforming. And the rishis also say that consciousness, which is the source of matter and energy both, is also eternity, is not to be destroyed, cannot be destroyed by anything, will not be destroyed, is very characteristic, is ever existing. So that way, it is interesting that this verse gives you a perception. A perception is the greatest asset for a human being. He dies, goes away from this world, but he takes nothing save his perception. The perception he has developed through the course of life, the steady perception, reality, the perception of the eternal reality. So this verse actually tries to explain the same thing. The reality is infinite. Nothing is destroyed. Everything is transforming, the apparent world, in the relative world, in the world of Maya, and in the absolute realization of the cosmic consciousness, that is also ever existing, and that is more pristine, clearly ever existing. So that perception has to be developed. So the seed of infinity is already existing in a person. The seed of infinity, like the seed of desires, are there in a person. He wants to enjoy this, he wants to enjoy that, he wants to eat good food, he wants to touch beautiful things, he wants all sorts of things. All these desires that are there in the seed form in a human being, and that in the course of time finds its manifestation. Exactly in the same way, the seed of infinity, of which the pleasure, the joy, the completeness, the fulfillment is of different kind, that is existing in a human being. And how to develop that? The point is here. This is the way to develop that. You have to look upon the world not with a limited view, but you have to transform, you have to melt your limited view into infinite. In the back of your head, you must always think that, oh, this is not just a cat, the infinite is behind it. This is not just a dog, the infinite is behind it. It is, of course. It is indeed there. Otherwise, without that infinite consciousness, no manifestation would be possible. So that way, it is a game of the cosmic consciousness in the infinite manifesting into the finite, and finite is transforming to infinite. So this transformation goes on, and this perception is very ancient, and probably in the whole world is only the Hindu sages who proclaimed first this idea that life is infinite, whatever we see connected with our life, all infinite, and finally you will find your fulfillment in the infinite realization. Now the point is that what about then Hindus also have given the perception of zero. They say the perception of zero has gone from Hindu. What is zero? You might ask me a question that what is the difference between infinity and zero? Am I right? Yes. What is zero and what is infinite? Buddha particularly talked about void. He talked about nirvana from suffering, freedom from suffering, but he particularly talked of void. This perception of void, the zero, is always dependent on number. Without number there cannot be any zero. Zero is not complete in itself, but infinity is complete in itself. The difference is here. Zero is always a relative term. Zero of element, zero of something. Because from zero, that means void, from nothingness, something cannot be possible. It is absolutely out of the question that something has come out of nothing. So everything comes from the seed and everything goes back to seed. Everything comes from the seed, everything goes back to seed. That is there. That is cosmic night and cosmic day, pralaya. And pralaya means cosmic night. And cosmic day, again the creation begins. So in a vast number of time, this whole universe will go back to its seed form. And from that seed again, in the same way, same calculative way, the universe is created. So from nothing, nothing is created. But this nothing is a relative term, the void. That means the place is void of trees. The pot is void of milk. This pot is void of drink. So from zero the number starts, quantity starts. So zero is always a relative term. And in the Gita also it is mentioned, the same idea that Buddha says, be into zero. That means make your mind. Buddha doesn't say that from zero the universe has come and your goal is the zero. No, never. People sometimes misunderstand. You make your mind zero. Your mind is full of worldly thoughts. Your mind is full of senses. Make your mind devoid of senses, devoid of objects, worldly objects, and then the reality will flash in you. Remove the curtain and the light will come in the room. So remove these obstacles that's created from the sensual objects in your mind and the light will flash. That is there. So this is the perception of zero. This is the perception of zero. Zero is sometimes misunderstood by people, that everything comes from nothing and we have to go back to nothing and nothingness is nirvana. No. The things connected with the world, your mind is gripped with that. Mind is a bundle of thoughts, and those thoughts actually connect with the world. These worldly thoughts, mundane thoughts, the thoughts that create some sort of impulses in you, and that those thoughts have to be made zero by your discrimination. How? By the power of discrimination. If you say absolute zero, then where is the discrimination? Where remains the discrimination? Where remains the observation that you have made your mind zero? The observer is not the zero. The observer is consciousness. And zero is the object. Object should be gone and then the subject will reflect. Subject is consciousness. So that way, I think it is wonderful. This verse actually covers this idea that you make your mind empty, but think of the eternity. Think of the presence of a living consciousness. This is a reality, a living consciousness. You will feel it in your samadhi. You will feel it in your meditation. You will feel your superconscious level of mind. So that way, this verse is trying to explain the two things. Infinity is complete in itself. Because it is complete, it has given birth to a complete world. The world is complete in itself. It depends how you look upon the world, but the world, everything in the world is calculated and moving and systematically. Sequences are very systematic, and these systematic sequences give birth ultimately to the feeling of infinity. The world is but a mass of feeling. Bhava is only feeling. Things are changing. Feelings are changing, but you have to reach to a feeling which is very steady, long-lasting, eternal. Then you are above death, disease and cyanic problems. So that is. So this verse is complete, and the verse in the end says Om Shanti 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 3 times. So there are 3 kinds of suffering in the world. For human beings, from ignorance, one kind of suffering is the physical ailments, all sorts of physical ailments everybody knows. And second suffering is from natural calamities. Calamities are needed, of course, nature has certain calculation, but the calamities bring about certain uneasiness to human beings. You know it very well. From pestilence, from hail, from tsunami, from earthquake, from storms, from so many kinds of things, so many kinds of problems. So this is a second kind of suffering, and the last suffering, which is the most intense suffering, is spiritual suffering, distractions of mind. What is spiritual suffering? The distractions of mind. Every moment we are distracted. Every moment our mind is running around. We can never hold the mind in a proper way and give it a channel. It is always distracted. So this distraction is the spiritual suffering. So from all these 3 sufferings, Om, the Supreme Consciousness. Om is Supreme Consciousness. So the prayer says that everything is infinite, the Supreme, and visible infinite, invisible infinite, and infinite is one, and that one can never be divided, and it is complete in itself. And this complete consciousness, the Divine Lord of the universe, should give us 3 kinds of peace: mental peace, physical peace, and then natural peace, removing the obstacles that are created from all these 3 sorts of phenomena. So that is the prayer here, and this actually is the oldest of the peace verse, which speaks about infinity.
Surely, this metaphysics is, of course, supremely amazing for the modern scientist to understand, because it's so correlated with the modern physics. But this metaphysics, how you think it will be applicable in day-to-day life to bring forth?
I understand your spirit. This is very practical. As a matter of fact, in our day-to-day life, we had to learn a lot of things. Life continues. Sun rises, sun sets. Days goes on. Nobody can stop his age, but he has to take the maximum advantage of the time. And advantage can be taken only by knowledge, only by wisdom, only by right perception. So this is only to create your perception, how to lead a day-to-day life. You just don't think that your son is yours, a son is son, or wife is wife, or money is money, or house is house. No, you need these things only as a foundation and for existence, your physical existence. But you should cultivate in your mind, in the back of your head, at the bottom of your heart, you must cultivate this idea that this all things that I am dealing with is connected with the infinite. This connection is only to be done. That is a great education, that is to create the perception that everything is connected with the infinite. Nothing by itself can move. In this vast universe, nothing by itself can move unless being propelled from behind by that supreme consciousness. So this awareness should be cultivated. When you develop this awareness, you will find that your life is 100 times more comfortable, and lots of problems in your life are automatically solved. So Shankaracharya just says it very nicely. He says, Sarvada sthapanam buddhe shuddhe brahmani sarvada tat samadhanam ityuktang nati chitta shalalanam. Sarvatha sthapanam buddhe shuddhe brahmani sarvatha. Sarvatha means all the time. Sarvada means all the place. In all the places wherever you are, and at any time, you should connect your mind with infinite, with the supreme consciousness. You connect your mind with that. Your pure mind should be connected with the infinite, and that is the solution of life. That will solve your problems. Not to chitta shalalanam. If you just entertain thoughts in your mind, constantly thinking, you can never come to the solution. It's like a river flowing, and if you are sitting near the river and say that I go to I want to go across the river. When the water is gone to the ocean, you will never cross the river. So thoughts are like the flowing currents of a river, and you should overcome these thoughts. So connect yourself with the divine, where there is no unnecessary ripples. It is rippleless and peaceful and conclusive. So that is the instruction here given, that practical life is real practical when you connect yourself, a completeness of the spirituality. So you have the spiritual existence, and spiritual existence is a matter of cultivation of infinite thoughts of infinity, and mundane world is with money, with things that you need, that's also connected with the infinite, and your intellectual world is with information, and these informations ultimately should lead you to the experience of the infinite consciousness. So I think it is more practical than what we think as practical.
Well, it's like disillusioning ourselves from the present reality, imposing ourselves with some supramental ideas, and for us, people like us, those who are, in present physical reality, to uplift ourselves.
It is because you lack education.
Right.
The modern education has very little to do with such lofty things, such spiritual realities. They are absolutely devoid of it. Education is the source of all knowledge. Educational institutions, every day they gather to learn things, but if they have not learned anything of this kind, only physical things they are confined to, in that case, how do you expect such a thing? We have opportunities to cultivate little bit of these things, and from that we have understood that the world we have seen well enough. We have seen cars, we have seen houses, we have seen money, we have seen all sorts of things, including intellectuality, culture. But then again, without spirituality, completeness, a full satisfaction, the rest of the heart is never realized. Because number should be complete, cultivation should be complete, your existence should be complete. You have the spiritual existence, and if you deny it, you cannot deny it, you cannot exclude it. Suppose somebody has one eye gone, his eyesight is gone. Definitely he has some difficulty. One eye is not enough. Somebody has one hand gone. One hand is, however dexterous he might be, but one hand is not enough. Exactly in the same way, your life is complete with your physical existence, your intellectual existence, mental existence, and you have a spiritual existence, like the root of the plant. You don't see it, but the root is everything. So the very root is here, that cultivation of infinite thoughts. In that way, you will avoid a lot of tensions. The moment you start thinking that this guy is that, and that guy is that, and this is that is that, I must have this, he must not have that, or all sorts of these divisions of the mind, if you know how to melt for the time being, for some time, then you will find your tensions are gone and your full satisfaction is recovered. Otherwise, you are a loser.
কোথা খণ্ড কোথা শূন্য পূর্ণ হতে পূর্ণ নীলে যাহা রহে তাহা পূর্ণ চরাচরে দৃষ্টি দিলে কোথা খণ্ড কোথা শূন্য